Hello everyone and welcome to another Gross University educational webinar. My name is Dominic Caminata. I appreciate you taking time to tune in. We got a very action-packed and topic-rich webinar that we're going to be sharing with you here today. And I'm joined by Caleb Nelson, who is the owner and founder of Destination Motivation, who has made it his personal mission in life to help contractors just like you with a couple different areas of performance, including but not limited to increasing close rates, increase referrals, increase leads, reduce cancellation, upsell more jobs, upgrade more jobs, rehash, and give your customers the ultimate experience, just to name a few. So we got a lot of meat on the bone, a lot of amazing things. So as always with the Gross University webinar, make sure you get your pen and paper out, because this isn't a sell-a-thon. This is truly an educational experience that's going to provide you with tips and strategies on how you can enhance your performance as a company in these areas. And I want to say thank you, Caleb, for taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy man, especially with a new baby at home. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having me, Dom. We've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been great to see Grosso grow. And we love this. We love this industry. So I'm excited to talk about some subjects that really are important coming in the next year here.
Yeah, and that's the thing I like about, working with guys just like yourself and companies like you. Obviously I run Gross University, myself and Nick Richmond, but Nick Richmond's been using you for many years. When I was the sales leader at Mad City, we used you all the time. So I can tell the viewers from firsthand experience how powerful this program really is and how it can truly take their business to the next level. But kind of getting into the beginning, of course, I think a lot of people, when they think of Destination Motivation, the vacation voucher maybe comes to mind, but that's not really what Destination Motivation is really all about. And what continues to floor me is how many different and diverse ways contractors and clients are utilizing your services in all areas of their business. So if you don't mind, Caleb, just explain a little bit about who Destination Motivation is and essentially how exactly it began, because I know it's not like you came out of the womb and you started offering vacation vouchers. So how did that journey first start with you?
We like to look at this more as a system, and the vacation voucher is sort of an element of that system. But it's a powerful system that focuses on things that are really important in the sales process. Like, for example, showcasing like you just mentioned, the ultimate experience. If something's interchangeable, where a company or a homeowner can look at like 10 different companies, they could get 10 different products with 10 different prices with 10 different, just overall experiences with those specific companies. But with when you showcase an experience of a product or the experience of that sales rep or the experience of the company, in addition, the experience of the vacation voucher and the experience that we provide that homeowner, that's not interchangeable. That's unique. Like every snowflake is unique, and that's important because that's truly what helps differentiate from a competitive bid.
Yeah, we talk about that. Obviously, a boatload at Gross University is your price truly only becomes a determining factor if you have failed to differentiate. And as you've mentioned previously, a lot of companies are offering, to a certain extent, a lot of the same things, the same types of discounts, the same similar products and services. So what is that, pink elephant, so to speak, or that unique or purple elephant, I think Rick Grosso said, it's going to make you stand out, and it's like, oh my God, I know I'm not going to be able to get this anywhere else, and that's what you provide.
Right. And we started actually in the mortgage and real estate industries. I met a guy named Charlie Gindell, Darwin Windows, who just recently retired as a renewal by Anderson, and he was off. To your point, he was offering something like $1,000 off. Yep. In advertising. And I honestly thought, if you needed a contractor, you call your dad up, and his buddy, who lives in the neighborhood, buy some windows from, the lumberyard or Home Depot, and, they get them installed. I didn't realize there was like true sales and marketing organizations in this industry. And my God, how that's grown over the years. I mean, $10 million a year used to be like, wow. And now, now it's more like 100 million, or now it's like $1 billion, right?
If you're a $50 million company now, they're like, hey, you got a good start. It used to be you were King Kong.
What are you, your first year?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're off to a good start. I was actually talking with a client of mine recently, and it really bothers him because this guy's got big, hairy, audacious goals, and he's pacing 60 million this year. And that's how some of these big dogs in the industry are talking to him, like, "Hey, you're off to a good start." He's like, "What? I've been scratching and clawing at this for decades." So, yeah, so phenomenal stuff. Now, you actually had a background in recruiting as well, right? Like before getting into this, like, how did that translate over into destination motivation?
So that's actually how I started the program. We were recruiting loan originators in the mortgage industry. We were pairing them up with real estate agents, and we were co-branding really this message of buy, list, sell with us. And so we were buying, I think at the time they were called certificates from some company. And the concept, the strategy with our recruiting and sales and marketing background was very, very successful. But then when people went to experience the travel element, it was just a disaster. And so our business hurt because of that. You know, we ended up losing clients because of that. And so my best friend Richard at the time said, "You know what, I'm sticking with this, this recruiting element." And at the time, it was so cyclical. It's ups and downs in that industry that I didn't love. And so I sought out to create a better product. Hey, if you could create a product that actually provided value, then you could work in all kinds of industries that relied on repeat business and referrals. And so that's where I started, and then got my feet wet in the mortgage and real estate business, but then quickly went over to the home improvement industry, had that success with Charlie. He had been in business, I think at the time, 26 years. He ended up having his best December in company history. So, wow. If that tells you anything, and I'm like, wow, we really got something here. Now we're working with 23 out of the top 30 contractors, most of the big companies, along with a few hundred others, and a
few hundred, yeah.
Companies are just coming out of the woodworks right now because leads are less abundant. Close rates aren't as high as they were. Yeah. Bigger organizations are experiencing much higher rescission rates, which is troubling. And so in order to still hit goals, and I'd say most companies out there have pretty aggressive goals, they have to do something different. And quick segue, if you don't mind. There was an interesting report that came out by a marketing company called Hawkeye. I don't know if you're familiar with them, Don, but they actually had to rebrand themselves recently, but they work with companies like Google and Chase and Capital One and
a couple small companies.
Yeah, tiny little companies, but super data driven, right? Like they literally know everything about you, they know everything about me, and they know everything about everybody else. Well, they also work with most of the Pella window dealers out there, and they had a report that they came out with about a couple months ago, forecasting kind of what was coming down the pipe over the next year. One of the biggest topics was competition, and the competition wasn't necessarily the window company down the street. What they said the biggest competitor was going to be was fighting for the consumer's travel dollars, because people had been cooped up for a very long time now. They hadn't traveled. All of a sudden, 2022 hits. People are itching. I mean, the numbers that were coming out in January were like, holy crap. I mean, this industry, travel industry, is going to skyrocket. And then inflation reared its ugly head, and that's hit the industry hard. I mean, double-digit, triple-digit increases in costs. I mean, everybody can relate to that. And so we thought, well, gosh, travel is going to take a significant dip, but quite the opposite happened. And this phrase was coined, revenge travel. Yeah. And so people are just biting the bullet, and they're doing it anyways. They're spending the money, even though it's substantially more. I think trips to Europe this year were up 400% over last summer.
I kind of want to revert back to something you're talking about, because I think one of the fears people may have about working with a company like Destination Motivation, essentially it is like a partnership, right? Because they have to trust that you're going to serve these people similar to the experience they had before founding Destination Motivation, where you're making all these promises about this vacation, and then when they hand the baton over, the service wasn't there. Now, I looked you up on Google, and you have over 646 5-star, you got 5 out of 5-star reviews. I mean, one of the most amazing reputations I've ever seen. So I guess, how is it exactly that you and your team are able to maintain such a great reputation in a line of work that, frankly, industry-wide doesn't have that type of reputation at all?
We're psychopaths as it relates to the customer experience. I mean, better put, we're extremely passionate. Every single person that works with Destination Motivation is extremely passionate about maybe on one side, selfishly maintaining the 5-star review. If one of the homeowners has a horrible experience, our client's going to hear about it, right? And we are so passionate about them having a positive experience because we know that, number one, that's going to impact our client getting more referrals. It's going to impact them getting more 5-star reviews. It's going to impact them getting a repeat customer instead of one of their competitors coming in and, selling them, another product. So that is really important to us. And that's how we're able to maintain consistent clients. I mean, we have clients like Window Nation that's been a client for 9 years that have, purchased over 30,000 vacation vouchers. I mean, we've got a track record, and that's really because we care about, the end user, and we care about our clients' success. And they're only going to be successful if we're successful.
Yeah, I think that's so important because, whether they like it or not, I mean, let's say you gave that client a bad experience, that's always going to tie back to the contractor that initially sold them the job. So your performance reflects on them directly. And to the contrary, one of the things I noticed immediately, and this is what I noticed at Mad City, is almost like the second we turned on Destination Motivation, not just you, but we as a company started to get positive reviews. And I understand that that's something you're actively getting for your clients. So essentially, when a contractor offers Destination Motivation, your team works very hard to get those positive reviews on behalf of the contractor as well. So how does that process take place? How do you extract those reviews?
We look at the whole process as sort of a bigger picture, not just micro, but macro, level. And we look at it at, the lead generation side, which is, how do we influence more consumers to, as a call to action to contact our clients, or to move forward with at least, from a lead standpoint. And then we follow that lead to the close, to where we are adding additional value and experience. And of course, we train the sales reps to actually position these things, as you know. And then after the close, once the deal is solidified, then of course the homeowner has that 3-day right of rescission. Well, we have a highly trained customer service team that calls that homeowner within that 3-day right of rescission. So 24 or 48 hours after they make that sale. And we say, oh my God, you purchased with Dominic at Grasso, congratulations. We're the company that provides redemption. By the way, Dom is the best. We love him. We've worked with him for a lot. So it's like third-party verification. It's you made the right decision. We're eliminating buyer's remorse. And then we inject this fun little exciting element into it that's like, oh, so like, where were you thinking about traveling? Oh, cool, no way. And it's like, it's just a fun, exciting conversation that, again, enhances their experience. And then from there, they go to book their trip and they have a great experience there. They come back from it. They're sending pictures and videos, and, they have our client to thank, all along the way, because it's always our client. And so that helps drive referrals. That helps drive reviews. They feel indebted to the company that they even got this thing. They're like, I can't. Most of the testimonials we get is like, first of all, like, I just can't believe it. I was shocked. Like, and all of a sudden this thing landed in my lap, like, it's mind blown. And then on the other side of it, they think themselves, well, gosh, it's just literally going to be impossible for us to get a better deal than this. Like, it's just impossible. There's no other company out there that's going to provide this value. So,
well, and one advantage to inflation right now is the level of perceived value of that voucher is only going up, I imagine. So I don't know what the average vacation costs these days, but I can tell you, me personally, I took a cruise with my wife, my 2 kids, and two of Kelly's sisters, my wife's sisters. And I think we dropped like 15 grand, and I was trying to be conservative with my money, right? And, obviously we had a couple nice things, but honestly, we weren't like spilling money, and we were trying to be conservative with what we were buying, and 15 grand seemed like a drop in the bucket.
I just did a training with one of our clients last week, and the sales manager just took his kids to Disney World, and he said the same exact thing. He's like, it cost me 15 grand. He's like, I tried to budget it. He's like, there was just no way to get around it. It was a week-long, stay. You add the hotel, the Disney tickets, the airline flights, the food, and it adds up. And this program will save people 50 to 80% off of what it would normally cost. So in your head, if you're like, 15 grand perceived value, and you're like, well, even if I save, that adds up to thousands of dollars worth of perceived value and real actual value.
So, of course, helping people generate more views, helping them enhance their reputation, giving their customers the ultimate experience. Now, I think a lot of people underestimate how powerful this is for their own internal recruiting. And this is what I like about the combination that you provide your clients is you obviously have their recruiting background, plus you offer an amazing program to help them. So how have you seen some of your clients use these vacation vouchers in your whole program, not just for their customers, but also to attract new talent for their team? Because that's a huge pain point right now, is people having a hard time finding employees, like salespeople, people in marketing, and this could be a phenomenal tool to help them with that.
Yeah, well, look, most employers are offering a series of benefits to try to attract high quality people to their company, and not only that, but they're trying to also keep and maintain those employees, right? So, obviously the employees have to find some sort of benefit, whether it's, financial or maybe they just, the culture is really fun and exciting, whatever it might be. So there's a couple different ways that we've really positioned this program. One is, and this is more on the sales side, but if you're onboarding a new sales rep, and turning and burning sales reps is a nightmare. There's so much work, time, resources. It's a lot. Training and ride-alongs and just everything. And so, if you could set those sales reps up for success right off the bat, and one of the ways would be leveraging this program, then you're going to have way more successful salespeople, way more of them, and for a much longer time period. Because if they have these tools that no other competitor is going to provide them, then there's no reason the grass isn't always greener. Now, on the other side of it, if you're recruiting a salesperson, or if you're recruiting a customer service rep or a CFO or whoever it might be, one of the things you can do is once they hit their 3-month proving period or whatever, you can say, hey, by the way, what and however you explain this, you can explain it however it fits into your culture. But we're going to give you a vacation for 2 for you and your family. It's your choice of a 7-night stay at a resort or a cruise. And so they see this little carrot at the end of the stick. They also see like how cool the company is at like giving back to their employees, which makes a big impact.
Yeah, so we did 2 things that when I was a sales leader at Mad City, we had 2 vacations a year that the salespeople were competing for, and that's the key. It was a competition. But we did a midpoint vacation, so essentially from the 1st of the year to June 30th, they qualified for a 5-day domestic vacation anywhere in the continental U.S. And the goal there was to make sure that that holiday hangover was as short as possible, and they hit the road running to start the year. Because you get that first few months to try to get a sales rep back in the right mindset. After they had a great year or a bad year, they got to hit the reset button, right? So that was a really good incentive for them to get started in the beginning of the year. And then we did an annual vacation somewhere more exotic, usually at a Caribbean island, or we've even gone to Hawaii, but something where we take the whole team and it's a really good team building. And I'm sure you have clients that use those vacation vouchers for that as well. Sales competitions.
On the sales side, most of our clients will do, like you guys did at Mad City, they'll do a rewards trip. Like, hey, if you hit the $1 Million Club, or if you hit, X, Y, and Z, then, we're going to go on this end of the year trip. But, if you look at, customer service reps, or if you have, a rehash department or a canvassing team or event, marketers, I mean, those people typically, don't get incentivized with these kind of things. There's been some stats that have come down the pipeline that like, hey, you could reward someone with $500, but they're just going to go pay their credit card bill down at that point.
Correct.
And but yeah, if you ask them 10 days later, like what they did with that money, they probably wouldn't even be able to tell you. But if you send somebody on a vacation that they probably might not even be able to afford, that's an experience that will last a lifetime.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's the key. Obviously, there's two advantages there, because employee recognition is the most important thing, right? That means more to them than money always, getting recognized, especially with and in front of their family. But of course, having that memory that lasts them a lifetime, that vacation experience. I've had many one-on-one conversations with salespeople over the years, and they said year after year, those vacations meant more to them than any of the money they ever made, any other awards or competitions. Those experiences, especially with the team, it really meant the world to them. So I just think that's something that when people think destination motivation, the vacation voucher, it's so diverse how many different ways you can utilize this tool to help your business. And it seems like every time I talk to you, I hear about some new ways your clients are utilizing this for their benefit. Now, in terms of a sales tool, right? Of course, in sales, we talk about your value proposition, your ability to build value, differentiate, effectively price condition. So how do you see, I just did a boot camp with New South Windows. I know they're a loyal client of yours as well, out of Tampa, Florida. They got several locations, $200 million company. They're in the middle, right? They're doing pretty good, $200 million. But Earl and Amy, the owners, they swear by destination motivation. And I was talking to Earl, the owner, and he said literally it's a direct correlation from the reps that use the vacation voucher religiously, along with their closing rates and their retention. You see, it's black and white, night and day. So how are those top performers positioning this vacation voucher in the house to have high levels of success, to boost closing and, of course, retention?
That's the same across the board with any of our clients. Literally, if you look at the top performers at every single one of our clients, it's the same story day in and day out. Guys producing, I know 2 guys at one of our clients are going to do $7 and $8 million selling vinyl windows this year.
That's unreal.
It so happens they also use the most vacation vouchers,
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple ways to position it. One is more as an upfront traditional incentive that you can sort of attach to your discounting or your price drop, like from a timing standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you use the strategy of not having to come back out to their house because of the cost of doing that.
Yeah, initial visit reward. So, and that's something that's so important too, because, if I'm being totally honest, I'm gonna try to censor myself when I talk about this, but a lot of salespeople are decent at closing. I'd say closing is a hot topic a lot of people like to talk about. But one thing I see that very few salespeople get any training on, and that frankly they suck at, is negotiating. So it's this throw as many discounts at this prospect till they roll over and buy and completely destroy our profit margin, right? However, if you have this additional value you can add to your value proposition, this vacation voucher, and you can offer that in lieu of a discount as an initial visit incentive, that has a profound impact on your bottom line and profitability.
Well, I remember you guys at Mad City had, I won't go into specifics, but you guys had layers of discounting.
Yes.
And this took place, the voucher took place of one of those layers of discounting.
Absolutely.
Which ended up, adding a significant amount of profit to the deal because you weren't having to discount as much. I mean, in layman's terms. But the upfront incentive is one strategy. And then there's also a button-up strategy that works very well as too. And for the the high closers, those guys, they have type A personality. They love the button-up strategy. Now, either way, there's a strategy on exactly how to present this to where it makes sense and it's not gimmicky. And I think, most salespeople, when they first learn about this, they either get really excited or they're like, well, that sounds gimmicky, at first glance, right? But
Right.
once you understand the strategy and how to present this thing, which obviously we teach, then all of a sudden, it starts to make a lot of sense, not just as sales rep, but to the homeowner. I've been in training before where I had a sales guy literally say to me, well, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And I'm like, challenge accepted. And ironically, that same sales rep, he ended up using our program reluctantly, but that month his close rate went from 17% to 70% in 1 month.
Yeah, it's not so stupid anymore, right?
It just shows like even the guys that like are using it reluctantly are gonna have success if they're consistent and strategic with it. And part of that is making sure that the homeowner understands really what it is that they're getting. Because if they truly understand the value behind these things, and if the sales rep's able to personalize it, which is pretty easy, then this thing's going to have some teeth. So an example is like that's all sales 101 stuff that you teach all day long, which is ask some questions. Gosh, with inflation as high as it is, do you still plan on traveling over the next couple of years? That's going to give you some interesting answers, and it's going to help you create demand and personalize it. It's going to help you kind of see their needs and wants and likes and.
Yeah, and simply just be cognizant of your environment. If you see all the photographs on the wall of all the cruises they've taken, and you see obviously they're world travelers, clearly that's going to be a hot button, and you want to, through questions, open-ended questions, get that information out of them, get them excited, and they'll essentially spill all the beans on how much they desire to travel, and of course the fact that they had to sacrifice, they're not traveling as much as they used to. So that gives you a lot of ammunition, and that perceived value, in my opinion, is pretty much whatever they're accustomed to spending on vacation. If they went on a cruise and spent 20 grand or 15 grand like I did, then that voucher could have a perceived value of 10 to 15 grand, because it's obviously saving them all that money, up to 80%, obviously depending on what they end up doing. So I think that's phenomenal. And sometimes these people are going to be primed and ready to go before you even get to the house if the company is using that as a strong call to action, whether it be in their marketing, home shows, events.
Which brings up a good point, Dom, which is, we call it the drip theory, but it's like if you present this early on and sort of drip it throughout the appointment here and there, strategically, then when you do go to offer it, or present it, I should say, not offer it, it's going to make a lot more sense to the homeowner. You're not going to have to overcome as many objections and things like that. All that preconditioning that you train on.
And that would be my thing is I would spend a decent amount of time right away in that initial discovery, that warm-up phase when you're starting to build a relationship and you're starting to get to know one another. You should have questions specifically inserted into there that touch on travel, because it is something that I'd say 99% of people are thinking about, especially now. And they got that, what did you call it, revenge travel or whatever they want. Yeah. So a lot of people have been cooped up, cabin fever, like nobody's business. So I think it's really easy to bring that up in a conversation. And it's all about looking at the customer's body language. Look at their facial expressions. I think you've mentioned this in previous conversations, sometimes when you start talking about vacations, they'll get goosebumps. They even get chills because, yeah, exactly. And sales is 100% an emotional game. And if you can have that level of emotion, not just for a solution you're providing, and that's something, again, the products and services you offer should have a great deal of emotion behind it, but adding this to it, something they can't get anywhere else, that gives them that opportunity to have that experience that's going to be something they'll remember the rest of their life. Like you said, they feel indebted to you.
You still have to have the foundational support of everything that you're already doing. That none of that can go away. This is just an added, extra that's going to help, either push them across the edge. Maybe they're already going to purchase with you, but it's going to help, eliminate buyer's remorse. Maybe they were going to purchase with you, but you know what? They weren't quite sure if they made the right decision. They also had 2 other appointments with 2 other competitors, later on that week or the next day. And this will ensure that they cancel appointments. because they know that they're not going to get a better deal out there. And who the hell wants to sit through another 4 hours of presentations,
So I think I heard you talking about this one time, but there's a strategy you're describing that a lot of salespeople use. And as soon as you start talking about that, I just think this would be so freaking powerful, is while they're working up their total investment, while they're calculating the project, they have the client literally going through choosing what type of vacation they want to take, kind of looking through the different programs and the pictures and all that stuff. So literally, before they even deliver a price, they're at such a heightened sense of emotion and attachment to this offering, right? It's almost like the price is irrelevant at that point, or at least a lot less.
We actually have we have a 2-minute video that we teach the sales reps to show at that exact moment. No, the 2-minute video, it gives this visual element with the music, and it goes into the ins and outs, the flexibility, the options of each voucher, and it just, by the end of it, the homeowner's sitting there, and the wife is elbowing the husband, and the husband's elbowing the wife, and they're like, dude, we got to do this. We got to do this. And so, to your point, it just gets them more comfortable with their purchase.
I train a lot in sales when I'm talking to salespeople, is before the customers make the buying decision, they're always playing a movie in their mind of what's going to happen subsequently, right? And they have 2 movies they play, the positive and the negative movie. The negative movie is all the things that could go wrong if they make the wrong decision. And the positive one is, of course, all the amazing things that are going to happen once they say, okay, let's go. So the more you can implant that positive imagery in their mind, that's going to fuel that positive movie, and it almost completely abolishes any negative emotion they could have towards it one way or the other, and it makes it so much easier for the close to be the natural conclusion, right? Yeah. And that's the key is, if you're watching this video and your salespeople are selling on price, definitely reach out to Caleb Nelson and myself. Let's get you guys through some training, because at this day and age, we should not be order taking. We should not be competing on price. You need to be competing on quality, customer satisfaction, the ultimate customer experience, value, the features and benefits, right? So affordability is the only thing that stands in the way, but not price. And with the financing options that are available in the industry today, the close should feel like the natural conclusion more often than not. It's leveraging tools like what Caleb Nelson is offering at Destination Motivation. And this is what I love, is when a customer onboards with you, you have very comprehensive and, if need be, frequent training that you'll provide to their sales team. And you guys work your tails off. You're traveling all over the place. You guys are everywhere, right? So I guess, what does that whole training and onboarding process look like? If I'm a contractor and I reach out to Caleb Nelson, we get onboarded, I talk to Stephanie. So what does that whole training and onboarding process look like?
Onboarding is very quick. The foundational element of our program is on the sales side. But then in addition to that, we also help put together marketing campaigns. We work with, all kinds of different marketing companies like Webrunner or Socius, Contractor Pros, to put together campaigns for those clients, whether it be, digital marketing, whether it be, postcards. Some of our clients will do TV commercial, radio ads. But regardless, that always flows through the sales team anyways. So that's why we always start in the foundation of our program is the sales side. So we initiated training, which, we usually do over Zoom, but we also do in person. And we love going out and meeting clients and building relationships. And almost all of our clients are long-term relationships. Building relationships is probably what we're most passionate about. Obviously, if you have a friend, there's a level of integrity there, right? So not just is the building of the relationship important and something we're passionate about, but it's ensuring their success, because as cliche as it sounds, like their success is our success. Like that's how we get reorders, as them being successful with the program. So we're all hands on deck. We have a full team that, not only activates the client, but supports them ongoing in everything and anything that they do.
Now, you have a lot of your clients that also use the travel voucher, the Destination Motivation for referral programs too, right? Because that's an area I feel, there's the two R's, rehash and referral. I think a lot of companies, if you don't have a good rehash or referral program, I understand that Destination Motivation does offer programs specific for those.
On the rehash side, I mean, we have one client that's doing over $500,000 a month in rehash based off our strategy. And, it's a proprietary strategy. Alan McKenna, who who runs our rehash program, and I call him the rehash wizard because he truly is. He's able to find rehash not just in the leads that you met with and didn't close, but also in the leads that you were never even able to meet with. And there's a lot of opportunity there. So, I mean, we look at it as if you have a database of at least, 2,000 plus contacts, then there's going to be an opportunity. And
well, that's important, Caleb, because literally I'm talking with some companies. It's like, they've been in business for 30 plus years. They have like 10, 15, 20,000 people in their database. And I start talking about rehash because it always comes up at some point. And a lot of them don't have a rehash program at all, like nothing. They're not rehashing anything. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, that's a massive amount of low-hanging fruit that they need to be capitalizing on. So obviously, by working with you, that's something they can kind of plug right into. You got your whole proprietary strategy, the whole program put together. You can literally go right after that low-hanging fruit, kind of along their side to drum up a ton of business. Because I think people are realizing now they can't just throw a little bit of money at these lead aggregators or some of the traditional marketing sources and have the same results. People got to be creative now and diversify and be more hunters than farmers, right? We got to get after it. And I think building that rehash referral, more incentives for referrals for your sales team. It's amazing how salespeople over time, and I don't want to offend anybody, but they can get conditioned to be lead babies, right? So we got to try to implement some new programs, new tools, new policies into our sales team to generate as much business and low-hanging fruit as we can. That's what I love about this. I mean, there's so many different tentacles to what your program offers, at the front of it with recruiting, employee recognition, sales awards, competitions, recognizing other departments in your organization. Chad Howman, he does a lot of our production operations training. He does competitions and vacation programs for his installers. A lot of people don't think about that, right? But there's so many different ways you can utilize that. And of course, in the home, what's the exact strategy for presenting the vacation voucher? How does that conversation take place? And you walk the clients through step by step, a massive call to action in your marketing efforts. Because I think you've said this before too, and you can't help but notice it. Watch the TV or listen to the radio. Everyone has the same type of advertising hook, right? It's either like 50% off labor or $1,000 off, same thing. Your marketing comes out and you're offering this opportunity to go on a dream vacation along with the project that really stands out.
Which is something that everyone's thinking about. It's one of the most top of mind subject matters with everything that's happened over the last couple of years. Now's the time.
No, that's incredible. And, just the overall retention program as well. The fact that within that 3 days, you're keeping the emotions running high, you're keeping the excitement going, you're following up with those people, getting those reviews, just the numerous benefits to an organization, on top of just dramatically enhancing sales efficiency. Let's just be honest. Closing, retention, all those areas, average sale, the value proposition is much higher. So I think it's safe to assume that offering a vacation voucher, especially if you present it the correct way with the correct strategy, that could easily have a $5,000, $6,000, even $10,000 perceived value, depending on.
By the way, you just mentioned increasing average deal size.
Yes.
Our good friends Carter and Matt, over at True Home Pros, they saw an average increase of $1,500. Maybe once that, isn't too exciting, but if you average that across every single deal that you sell, I mean, that adds up real quick.
Well, I can tell you firsthand. So when we first launched Destination Motivation in Mad City, because I was always fanatical about the numbers, right? And one number that was constantly reoccurring was retention. So I was always focusing on that number, our retention. We typically average between 9 and 10% cancellation across the board. That was kind of an average. And the very month that we launched Destination Motivation, it went from a 10% down to a 7%. And then we kind of stayed around that 6-7% for a while. So I noticed the immediate 3% drop in cancellation. And of course, along with those other things, closing enhanced, average sale, but that immediate drop in our cancellation, it was very obvious, and you could, it obviously was a good feeling.
Well, with the number, with the company of your size, I mean, that's a significant number.
It was huge, yeah, because we were doing, $8-9 million a month at that point.
Yeah.
So you put that in perspective, 3% of that is a heck of a lot of money. And now they're doing like 17-18 million a month. So obviously, you look at all the different advantages. Now, in terms of retention of business, closing sales, and this is why we're doing this webinar together, we've had several large companies that have had Gross University come out and do detailed sales training boot camps. And then Destination Motivation is also present, talking about how that weaves into the sales process. So with our powers combined, so to speak, the right sales methodology and the right sales tool, because that's how you describe this really. It's a lead generation sales conversion tool. Sales conversion organization is what Destination Motivation really is. That just so happens to offer vacation vouchers. When you put these two together, the rate at which it can accelerate the growth of your sales team and enhance your performance and efficiency is absolutely incredible. And we've experienced some amazing results already with some of our mutual clients. But all around the industry, right? If some of the top remodelers in the country are having obvious and repeatable and duplicatable success utilizing this program, you definitely owe it to yourself to be able to offer this to your clients as well. So if I'm a contractor watching this, and I definitely want to pounce on this opportunity to reach out to you, I guess what's the best way to get started, Caleb?
Go to our website, increaseoursales.com, or just Google Destination Motivation, but increaseoursales.com.
In terms of moving forward, so if someone says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get signed up with Destination Motivation, I guess what's the next thing they can expect? You said you do a lot of virtual trainings as well as in person if need be?
Yeah, we have people traveling all around every single week doing trainings with clients, also Zoom trainings, every single day. And either way, we provide a perfect way to launch this thing. To where you find instant success. One of the takeaways here is like, this isn't like, okay, we're gonna implement this, and like by month 3, like hopefully we start to see some results. We don't know, but that's what we're shooting for. This is like day 1, you're seeing significant increases. If you adapt this, consistently, which it's easy to do, but it's also, depends on the sales makeup of the specific company, but we have instant success with just about every client. And we'll go on business. We have a minimum order of 10 vouchers that they start with. We don't do contracts because, like I said before, as cliche as it is, your success is our success. So we drive this thing so hard to be successful because we know, we're going to get not only a reorder, but we're going to get a consistent, wonderful, beautiful relationship.
And it's not like that client or the customer has to use a vacation voucher tomorrow either, right? They have some time to use it. How long do they have to go on that vacation?
They have 2 years.
2 years, yeah. So that's plenty of time where they can still save up a little extra spending money, or if they want to upgrade their trip, you know how that goes where when you book a vacation, you have one budget in mind and then you just double it. Right? So, yeah. And then you double that and then you get to the final amount. So that's the way it goes. Man, I didn't expect to spend $400 a day on drinking, but whatever.
We actually had a lady that was like, wait, so I just wanted to kind of get a better understanding of the port charge and taxes because I'm like budgeting for this. I'm like, well, we're like, well, it's not that much, a couple $100. And she's like, oh, phew, because my last cruise, I spent $1,900 on alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's living it up, though. That's the memories that you want to provide to your clients, right? So, well, as always, Caleb, amazing company, amazing program. Obviously, I see firsthand why you have 646 5 out of 5 star reviews. I can personally attest you do go the extra mile for your clients, and we appreciate the partnership here, the relationship at Gross University. Again, you've been a loyal sponsor of ours for several years, and we hope to do many mutual trainings together. We got a lot of mutual clients that could benefit from that. So any final things you'd like to say to the people on the webinar? As we're going to open it up for Q&A as well.
I got to talk to you after this because I have a client that's interested in doing a training that we've been talking about, because we've seen how much success our clients have with your training.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing we have going here, and I appreciate your support.
Awesome. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up the webinar for a few minutes of live Q&A. So make sure you put your questions in the Q&A or chat box, and we'll get those answered for you live in this webinar. Again, this is a pre-recording, so we can have a nice, clean, and beautiful viewing experience for everybody. But again, thanks for your time, Caleb, and obviously we'll see you very soon. And as always, audience, yes, you are a closer.